Senate Finance Committee will come to order. It's June 18th, 2021, members. Thank you very much for your ability to attend and participate in this hearing on our Senate File 16. It is the Omnibus Housing Bill, and with us we have Senator Draheim and Senator Duckworth. Thank you very much for being before us. Unfortunately, just got a text from the commissioner. She is unable to adjust her schedule. Have not heard from the assistant commissioner whether he will be attending or not, but we will not have any testimony from the agency on this bill. With that, Senator Draheim, to your bill. And what we're going to do is just kind of hit the highlights of the compromise. And then we'll turn it over to Mr. Mueller to go through the spreadsheet. And Mr. Stang is here on any other issues that may arise with the wording, the language. But with that, Senator Draheim.
Thank you, Chair Rosen and members. And thank you, my Vice Chair, Senator Duckworth, for joining me up here. Even though people online cannot see him, he is here. We received a 10 million general fund target. And, I'm not going to go into real big detail. We thought on the Senate side that we should spend most of our resources on our end goal, which is home ownership. So we spent some on workforce home ownership program, and then the manufactured home parks. Also funded with that $10 million is the challenge program, homeowner assistant fund, local housing trust, and then the start of a shelter task force. The other fiscal piece is the $100 million in housing infrastructure bonds. And we are earmarking, if you will, a little over 18 million for single family homes, and then 15 million for manufactured home parks. The other part will be undesignated. On policy, it's very, very thin on policy. We have a few items. One is the window clips, which gives an exemption for single family homes on the main level. This is something that we heard from stakeholders that good intentions, but it wasn't real practical on the main level of a single family home. Other piece is some manufactured housing titling reform. This language would make it easier to allow for manufactured homes and cooperatives to be considered real property. Easier for financing is kind of the first step moving forward for that. And then the last piece came over from the House, and that had to do with prorating rent, especially for college kids. And then probably the biggest piece, the piece that's got the most attention, is the eviction moratorium off-ramp. Chair, I don't know how much you want me to go in detail on that.
Senator Draheim, we will go into detail on that. We do have a delete all everything amendment that we should probably get the bill in shape. And then we can do a deep dive and have Senator Duckworth speak. And I know Senator Dietzich is here, and she's worked very hard on this bill too. And I appreciate her attendance. Senator Pratt, would you like?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move the A21 authors amendment.
And everybody should have that. It has been posted. We're all set on that. Any questions on the A21 delete everything amendment? Audio on, video on. All those in favor of the A21 amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. Motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. Okay, thank you, Senator Pratt and Senator Draheim. If you'd like to talk about the eviction moratorium or anything else.
Do you want to talk? You can start. Okay. We had a lengthy discussion over the last year, actually, on the off-ramp. And it's structured similar to what we had previous, was that we have a piece that gets rid of the bad actors right away. Then we have a piece that gets rid of people that don't qualify for the rent help, mn.org. And our whole bill is designed around pushing people to that website to get the help that we have the federal funds for. renthelpmn.org or call 211. So get rid of the bad actors. Next piece, we could terminate and evict people that don't qualify, meaning their income is too high. So up here in the metro, you'd have to make over, or make less than 83,000, I believe it is, to qualify. So if you make 100,000 a year, you don't qualify for this program. We feel if you're making that kind of money, it's time to move on. And then the last piece to it is the people that do qualify, they have a little more time, but we make them apply for the program to get the help for the tenant and the housing providers. So that's just a real quick description. The one piece that we added that is new is probably the notice piece, and that was something that the House really wanted. So we have a 15-day notice piece in there for people that are being evicted for the non-payment of rent.
Wonderful. Any questions so far? Senator Duckworth, welcome to the committee. I know you were an integral part of this, and thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. And just to echo what Senator Draheim touched on, I think an important thing to highlight specific to the moratorium phase out is that much of the language in here exists specifically as it relates to the executive order that was put in place as a result of COVID-19. And much of this language, or all of this language, does sunset. Right now, whether you're a tenant or a landlord, there's plenty of uncertainty as to how the state's going to approach this moving forward. And I think this bill does a great job at providing some certainty to landlords, property owners, and tenants that kind of need some guidance in figuring out how they're going to phase out of this process. So not everybody might not be in love with every aspect of the bill, but I think it sets the foundations for us to move forward as a state and take a tremendous leap toward a sense of normalcy again.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, I don't see any questions with that. Mr. Mueller, the spreadsheet, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask Dallas if he could share the spreadsheet, please. So the spreadsheet's pretty simple. It's just 2 pages. Going into the conference committee and the working group, the spending levels were, the governor had an additional 18.5 million. The Senate was at base level and had reallocated some within that base level for the priorities of manufactured home parks and workforce housing. And the House had a $30 million target. So in the conference committee received the $10 million target one time for fiscal year 22-23. And then the tails, excuse me, was actually 12 million, but that is being allocated all to pay the debt service on the $100 million of HIBs. So the debt service will start in 2024. So that's basically going into the conference committee, what was the layout. As Senator Draheim talked about, the $10 million target was essentially sort of divided with House and Senate, and the Senate kept to the same main principles of manufactured home parks at $1.75 million additional, and workforce housing $3.2 million. So that's essentially what we had going in from a reallocation standpoint. Another change I'll note, the Senate had originally the Build Wealth program. The Senate had sort of rolled that into the homeowner education counseling, and then coming out of conference committee, Build Wealth is again funded separately and is in the base going on. So that's going back to the base level funding for Build Wealth. And the other change I'll note here is on open access. The Senate had going in, it's on line 22 of the spreadsheet. The Senate had allocated $85,000 for open access. This was a Senator Dietzick bill, which was actually an increase over what they are currently getting within the HECAP program. And coming out of conference committee, they're allocated at $70,000, which is the current level of funding. So those are the main change items on the dealing with the bill. I'll also note another item. The let me see, I think it's on page 2 here of the spreadsheet. Yes, there's another item that, it was another Senator Dietzick bill. It's allowing for a refund of an application fee of $253,000. This was a separate bill that actually Senator Dietzick has and went to the bonding committee, but the House had it in their bill. So that's another item that's new that came out of conference committee. And it's essentially a fee that was paid for previous bond that was never awarded, and according to current law, the fee is supposed to be kept by the Housing Finance Agency, but we're allowing them to refund that fee of $253,000, mostly because of COVID reasons. They weren't able to get this project off the ground. So, and then again, as Senator Draham talked about, the allocation for the HIBs is sort of a new thing. There's $100 million of HIBs authorized in the bill, and 33% of it is being sub-allocated. And the way it works in the bill, the Housing Finance Agency will have 2 years to sort of allocate this $33.33 million, either for single-family homes or manufactured home parks. And if they're not able to allocate it according to those two sub-allocations, they'll go back into the larger pool for that. And also note there's sort of two areas where there's interaction with some federal money. The first is on the very first section in the bill, if you get the delete all in front of you. It basically says that any money that will be received by Housing Finance Agency under the American Rescue Plan, the newer relief money, can't be used to offset earlier money received within the Coronavirus Relief Fund. The governor had allocated $100 million last summer or last fall for homeownership relief program, and that includes some renter and some homeownership relief money. And now that the Housing Finance Agency is receiving a number of new allocations for rental assistance and homeownership assistance. And within some of that, we're just making sure they don't use it to backfill what was paid out earlier. The other interaction that we have with federal money is that $100 million of HIB allocation, Housing Infrastructure Bond allocation. There is some language in the bill saying that if there's new money that comes to the state from a new federal infrastructure bill that essentially goes for the same thing, that would offset, we would lower the amount of HIBs that are authorized for that. So that's all I have on the fiscal side, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Any questions for Mr. Mueller or the author? I don't see any. And I see Senator Rest arrived too, and would like to thank you very much, Senator Rest, for your participation in this bill. You and Senator Dietzick working alongside Senator Duckworth and Senator Draham. So, very good bill. Yep, thank you. We have no questions. We have no commissioner. We have a great bill. What are we going to do, Senator Draham? Closing comments.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for serving on the committee with me and Senator Duckworth and Senator Rest and Senator Dietzick and Senator Port and Senator Dames. We had a great group. I'm really appreciative that we're spending more time on housing and shedding on light and all the different needs there. So I just wanted to thank everybody, and of course the House conferees too for putting up with us and trying to get something done. So thank you.
Yes, and your staff has been amazing.
Yes, and of course the staff, Joel and Andy and the nonpartisan staff, and of course the House staff, Owen, et cetera, over there. Good people and really appreciative. So thank you, everyone.
And it's a learning curve for me in housing, but I think you're right. There's a tremendous amount of money that flows through this agency, and it's good to see how we can support it and where the money's going, and really focus on this department. I don't know if they're particularly excited about that focus, but it's good. It's a good thing. Senator Murdy.
Madam Chair, sorry, I just thought of a question from something Mr. Mueller said earlier about if more, or maybe perhaps Senator Draheim, if we do get more federal money, we knock down the housing infrastructure bond amount, what are the odds of that happening? Are we expecting that from some of the ARP money, something we haven't counted, or what are we talking about there?
Senator Durham.
Chair, thank you, and thank you, Senator Marty. You know, there's been a lot of talk about an infrastructure bill, and I think that's kind of where that was coming from. So we'll, you know, like so many things this year, we've had to wait and try to translate what the feds send us, and I think that's part of it. Because the housing infrastructure bonds the debt service is quite high on that. So the 100 costs us 156, I think, at current numbers, according to MMB. So I you know, so if we can get other funds, we'll do what we can there too, so.
Okay. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move Senate File 16 be passed as amended and referred to general orders.
Senator Johnson moves that Senate File 16 as amended be recommended to pass and placed on general orders. Video on, audio on. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion prevails. Thank you very much, Senator Durham, Senator Duckworth. Appreciate it very much. With that, members, it sounds like we're going to have environment and hopefully environment on Monday and transportation for sure on Monday. So just stay tuned. I don't know what time. We have no idea. So please, thank you for your patience. With that, the Senate Finance Committee is adjourned.